Kwite came under fire and got put in the crosshairs of the entire internet after some extremely serious allegations were levied against him. The allegations came from one person on Twitter in particular who released a massive document that accused him of some truly heinous things. And as a result, his ham was getting steamed, they were calling him a criminal, and just like the Thornberrys, Twitter went a little wild. They were judge, jury, and executioner and decided in the court of public opinion that Kwite was already guilty on everything he was charged with. So they labeled him a rapist. They were no longer allegations, all of it was presented as facts. This was as real as algebra now, and if you said like, hey, maybe let's wait to hear from the other side for a moment, you would have been labeled evil. If you even tried to utter the...
I mean, on Twitter, yeah. Twitter has always been and will always be a shithole where people have no nuance whatsoever. One day, maybe they will, but not anytime soon. But I mean, I said this at the time. I say this every time. I say that, like, if a victim comes out, I will believe them until I have reason to stop believing them. I would much rather side with a potential liar than a potential rapist. But if someone comes out and they explain everything and they show proof of all of their claims and they say this, none of this happened, here's this, here's this, here's this, and there is no comment made by the initial party, then yeah, I will change my opinion. But I've said this. There are lots of people. I think it's just if you're on Twitter, you have Twitter brain and you're fucked. But there are a lot of people who I think do the same thing. Just I will side with the victim, and when I'm provided evidence that shows that the victim lied, then I will change my mind.
Excuse me, Miss Streamer at Denims, what is the box?
Oh, I thought the box is like slang for pussy. That was my understanding.
The forbidden phrase of innocent until proven guilty, you would have been burned at the stake like it was the fucking Salem witch trials. It's also important to mention that it was more than rape too. They threw the entire kitchen sink at him. Every fucking horrible term you could imagine was all getting flushed down Kwite like he was a goddamn public toilet. He was labeled many awful things, and 2 days ago he came forward to debunk the entire thing in an 1.5 hour long video, thoroughly going through every single accusation and pretty much tearing it to pieces with an incredible amount of evidence, and honestly just an incredible amount of bravery with some of the things that he publicly owns up to.
Grandma, thank you for the 9 months. Thank you.
Very personal, very big insecurities, such as like sexual performance and his anxiety regarding anything sexual, and even admitting to still being a virgin. There was a lot of things that he talked about here that I know for a fact couldn't have been easy, especially because now he put his face on it. Up until this point, Kwite hid his face. He hid his actual identity, but because of all of these accusations, he was doxxed from it, as I understand, and he wanted to showcase how seriously he was taking everything, so he dropped the mask and the hoodie and put his real face on top of this stinky shit cake that he was served, and he just brought down the brass tacks and laid out all of the facts as well as all the context and a significant amount of evidence supporting his claims and debunking the things that the accuser was saying. This is probably one of the strongest rebuttals I've ever seen from an internet content creator when faced with serious allegations. The way Kwite has handled this is very, very impressive. And the response to it has been overwhelmingly positive in favor of Kwite. Now, most people are starting to rally behind Kwite and seeing a lot of the things presented by the accuser were either outright lies or manipulated half-truths or completely misleading series of accounts of situations. It's all just not looking
And
great.
yeah, I want to highlight something really quickly. Please, if you want to say like, I don't know, the vibes are weird, that's fine. If you want to be like, I don't like the vibes, that's fine. Please chat. Let's stay away from psychoanalyzing. Don't make me pull up the Mooncat video. Oh my God, Gremlo, thank you for the massive raid. What the fuck? Thank you. Hi, Raiders. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Hi, everyone. Hello. How are you guys doing? You guys having a good time? A good day? You guys should all go follow Gremlo. He does politics streams as well in the mornings. and very cool. Your Honor, the vibes are off. Welcome to everybody. We were talking about the Kwite situation. I'm not sure how many gremlins know about it. The quick, short TLDR for any raiders that are here that don't know about it. A person by the name Orion made accusations against a YouTuber named Kwite, basically saying that they had raped them and that they had emotionally abused them. And they wrote a whole thing, a whole twit longer about it. And Kwite, after I think like a month of this having come out, released an 1.5-hour video basically refuting all of it and saying, this is not what happened. I did not do this. Here are my screenshots. Here's this and this and this. And I just want to say one thing, please, for the people who are saying like, oh, well, he has to be right because he showed his face for the first time ever when he made this video. And you wouldn't do that if you were guilty. Stop. For the people saying like, he's doing it as a publicity stunt so he can get people to trust him. Stop. Okay? Oh, he looks really nervous, so he must be guilty. Stop. He looks really nervous, so he must be taking it seriously and he's being honest. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Psychoanalyzing and all of that, that garbage is fake. Okay, chat? If you don't believe me, listen to someone who is amazing and smart and beautiful and pretty and funny that goes by Mooncat. She has a great video about body language experts and how it's all a scam. All of it. This is it. This is the video. We never finished it, but we got pretty far. Okay? And if you haven't seen it, I will post it in chat right now. It's an amazing video. It's an amazing video. How do I share? I feel like a boomer. So go for it. Yes, so please no psychoanalyzing. Let's just listen to the things that they say and let's just like see who has more evidence or whatever and whether or not the victim speaks out again about it. Okay? Because you can read basically the takeaway from that Mooncat video. You should watch it yourself and you should definitely sub to her because she's amazing. But the takeaway from that video is that you cannot actually gather information about a stranger based on how they look. Maybe you can tell when a friend of yours is lying. I don't know how many people in chat have metagamed during... Oh, thank you, Loki. I don't know how many people have metagamed during Among Us where you're like, oh, fucking Kyle's doing the thing again when he's lying. He's doing it. He's doing the thing where he starts saying and a lot. Yep, he's lying. He's lying. Yep. Maybe if you're friends with someone and you know someone, you know their lying tics, you know what they say and how they act when they're lying. If you're talking about a complete stranger, please don't. You don't know what that person looks like when they're lying or when they're not lying. I think it's a matter of intention, respect, and evidence that drives how serious he's taking this. Yeah, I mean, I think I would agree. But anywho, Kyle's punching the drywall again. He only ever does that when he's lying. Yeah. Gathering information about how someone presents is not psychoanalyst. Huh? What are you talking about? I just said don't do that. Huh? I just said don't do that. I said you can only actually do that for friends or family that you know very well. If you know your friends and family very well, you know when they're lying and you know when they're not. None of us in here know Kwite personally. None of us. So we should judge his statements based on their validity. Okay? All right.
And in response,
okay, I don't mean to flame you, but like, it does not instill confidence in me when you are trying to assert something about a specific topic and you can't spell the word. Yeah, I know, but psychoanalysis is a different thing. It doesn't invoke confidence in me. Okay? It doesn't invoke confidence in me for you to speak so assured in your statements, and it's one of the major words is spelled wrong. Okay. Anyways, okay, we're moving on.
Response, they've also posted I guess what was supposed to be a receipt proving that they've seen a therapist for PTSD, I guess, but that's all really pretty shady and sketchy and also not super important to what's being discussed here. So overall, just isn't looking good for the initial accusations.
Do only native English speakers watch this channel? ? Didn't get the memo. Smile. Some people just want to be offended. I feel like some people they just want to.
And I just want to kind of talk about this whole situation, not so much the particulars of it, because that's not my place to really talk about it. If you want to see the whole situation, I highly recommend going to Kwite's video to get a full grasp on all of it. What I want to talk about is the mob mentality that instantly formed against Kwite while being completely against hearing his side of it or listening to anyone that wanted to wait before fully forming their opinion. Because I caught a lot of shit for not talking about it for the course of 3 weeks, saying that I was trying to silence the story of a big rapist on YouTube and all kinds of horrible things, just awful shit. And I want to just talk about that because I'm not even surprised, because the general mentality on the internet is believe all victims no matter what and don't ask questions. Because everyone wants to believe the best in people. If a victim is coming forward, it's because they're legitimately a victim and everything they're saying is the truth. Every argument they're making, everything they're presenting is a fact, and it's all a 100% account of what actually happened in these situations. And it's kind of a naive way of thinking. Like, it's just extremely trusting. Like my dad. Like a week ago, my dad sent me a text saying, "Hey bud, I was playing Forza," because I got my dad into Forza, he's become quite the gamer now. I was playing Forza and I got a message from someone saying that I was really good and he wanted me to like sign up for his team or something, but I can't get the website to work. And I panicked. I was like, holy fuck, Dad, this is absolutely a scam. Don't you dare go to that site or sign up for whatever he's trying to say.
Yeah, I gotta say, not in big agreement about all that. I'm not in agreement about all that. I don't know about all that. There's a reason people say believe women, and they just say it because it's most people. I mean, I think this is... I'm trying to find the words to describe my emotion. Okay? First of all, Charlie is still a normie. Okay? Second of all, I think the problem is that straight cis men have a harder time recognizing misogyny in the wild. I think misogyny, and this has always been my opinion, and it would have gotten me canceled. If I made content during Gamergate, I would have been, I don't know what they would have called me. Big Red was taken, so maybe they'll call me something else. I would have been like enemy number one. Because a lot of people push back against the idea that like growing up as a straight cis, especially white man, you just don't see misogyny. You just don't. Right? There are things that other people see that they can talk about and they can say, this is weird. And no one will agree with you. You know, so like, for example, when talking about, I mean, let's just go back to the origin, like Anita Sarkeesian, her saying like, hey, a lot of video games tend to hypersexualize women, but in those same video games, there are no men that are hypersexualized. And that's bad. We should have games that have representation of women that is similar to or on the same level of the sexualization of men, right? Seeing women as property is bad for the teenage male psyche. And so either introduce more male sluts or desexualize some of your women. The best example is the Metal Gear Solid one. It's the saddest thing on the planet, and people still will defend it. People will be like, actually, she needs, she just photosynthesized, so she needs to be wearing ripped tights. She needs to. She needs the sunlight. Meanwhile, I had to find out about this from an actual person who plays the games. There's another character in the Metal Gear Solid world that also photosynthesizes through their skin and is fully clothed all the time. Like, and this is the problem for me. The problem for me is just like, it's the inconsistency. You know, like if the fans of Metal Gear Solid just came out and said, honestly, I like it because it makes my pee-pee hard. I like to look at Kwite in ripped tights because it make my pee-pee hard. I'd be like, okay, at least you're being honest, you know? At least you're being honest. But it's the people that would go, like, they would fucking do the most crazy mental gymnastics to be like, she needs to be scantily clad. You don't understand. She needs it. Especially considering that Kojima himself has said, oh, I just wanted her to be sexy, so I made her sexy. Just say that you want her to be hot and that you like that. Like, that's, do you know what I mean? Just say that. Just say that, you know? How should have the situation been handled to avoid negative things happening, like Kwite getting doxxed? That's like an internet brain thing. Really quickly, because maybe some people didn't know about this, after the allegations came out, Kwite was doxxed, and he had a bunch of people calling him the anti-Asian C-word slur. Please do not ask what it is. Just Google it if you don't know. And if you are doing that, that is weird, man. That's really fucking weird. That's really weird to do. You can critique people and criticize people without being fucking racist, okay? All right? That's weird. But anyways, going back to the content. So like, you guys have to remember, or we all have to remember, that someone like Moist Critical, he covered the Amber Heard trial, and he did not place enough care in his coverage. Amber Heard and Johnny Depp were in a mutually abusive relationship where they abused each other. Why do you have people saying, I stand with Johnny Depp? You can just stand for neither of them. You don't have to stand with one of the abusers. You can just look at the situation and be like, I don't know either of these people. It looks like this was a mutually abusive relationship, and I'm not going to touch this with a 10-foot pole. Both of these people seem like they did kind of shitty things, and like the thing is, it's like, it's not even I'm not saying that what she did was right. I'm just saying he was also guilty of abuse. Why are we standing with him? Stop. Like, you know what I mean? It's so, you know? It was very upsetting, yeah. Yeah. Because she accused him. Guys, you guys are missing the point. I'm going to say this once and only once, okay? Because of her defaming and using the Me Too movement, come on, that's an obtuse way of looking at it. Just because she defamed him doesn't mean that you have to stand with her or him. You don't have to stand with either of them. And also, she said under oath that he abused her. So, was she even like framing him? She just went on publicly and said that He assaulted her, and he did. You don't have to stand with either of them. Okay? You don't have to pick one of them. True, but someone had to stand on his side considering the default was to stand with Amber. No, we can just stand with neither of them. You don't need to take a side. No, you can just think both parties did shitty things and it's not your business. You don't actually have to do that. Okay? Chatting, no one likes a fence sitter. Okay. All right. This is like there are a few times you're allowed to be a centrist, and this is one of them. Okay? All right? All right. All right. And this was like, I mean, critical. He covered the Amber Heard stuff, and he really went in on Amber Heard. And he really didn't do the same. Like, I was so grossed out by the number of like TikToks that I was seeing on my Twitter feed, because I don't use TikTok, of people putting together Chad compilations of Johnny Depp. That's weird. That's really weird, man. That's weird. That is weird that you are making a fan cam for a literal abuser. Okay? As a man who lived with an abusive person who liked to stab me, no one would ever listen. I felt like some advancement. I felt some advancement in the society in the trial. Huh? What? I don't know. Anyways, I don't know what that. Chat's confusing me. Okay. It made me think that Charlie was right wing by association. Yeah. I feel like only you and Hassan were the ones talking about it, saying they both suck. But in terms of the case, Johnny won. That doesn't mean he's completely innocent. He was also abusive. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Sneeko is the most transparent grifter on the internet. Yeah. Also, like, there have been plenty of people that have spoken out about Johnny Depp being like a piece of shit. And there have been people that have come out saying that he has emotionally abused them in the past. And like directors say that he's like a nightmare to work with because he's just such an insufferable asshole. Like this idea that it's like, but he's so pure and good. Guys, you know, when I grew up, one of my favorite movies was growing up? Fucking Sweeney Todd. Okay. Do you think I want to know that one actor that I actually like is a piece of shit, dude? Come on. You know?
Telling you it's not real. And I know that was probably a tough pill to swallow for him. It probably broke his heart because he responded with like, oh, okay, maybe he didn't think I was good. And I had to reassure him. I was like, no, Dad, I'm sure that wasn't the case. You were probably clapping cheeks out there. He's just, he's not being truthful with you. You can't just immediately trust complete strangers all the time. Especially in a situation where there's multiple people involved in the situation. It's important to get all sides of it so you get a full scope, a full educated look at everything going on. There's nothing wrong with seeing someone come forward and being like, holy shit, this is terrible, I'm sorry to hear all of that, but I'd like to wait to see all the other sides involved here before I fully form an opinion on all of this. Like, it's not that I don't believe you, it's that I'd like to wait to see everything before I fully understand what was going on here. And you can still, of course, be supportive of the victim that came forward, like, wow, I'm really sorry to read all of these things, it's fucking horrible. But you don't have to immediately start getting the pitchforks and the fucking shield out ready to go fight the person that's accused without ever even hearing their side first, right?
So this is the part where I'm at, where it's like, I think you should side with the person that is coming out with their story, because of how hard it is or how frequently people don't believe women. But that doesn't mean you should go and start attacking the abuser. You know? Like, do you guys agree, disagree? If someone comes out, a friend of mine, like well, not a friend, a content creator I like, because that's a very important detail. You can side with the person who is coming out and then not immediately go and attack the other person and be like, I'm listening to you, I hear you, I believe you. And then when the other person comes out with their story, you read it and you try and genuinely figure out who is saying what and what is true and what's not true. For most people, what does siding with them look like? I think siding with them just looks like not immediately running to say, you're a liar. Where's the evidence? Where's the proof? Why didn't you go to the police? I think you just not contributing to that is siding with them. I'm not saying you have to like fucking give them money or like be in their replies being like, yes, I believe you, queen. It just means not immediately discrediting what they're saying because they didn't go to the police fast enough, because they didn't have a rape kit done, because they didn't have enough screenshots for everything. That's all. Also, yeah, tap the sign again. Women get nothing for coming out against sexual assault allegations. Yep. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Don't reflexively disbelieve. Exactly. So I don't want to see any chatters being like, but why was but you have to listen to all sides, but you don't understand Denims. How can you do that? Literally all I'm saying is don't immediately disbelieve the victim. That's it. It's not that crazy of a concept. Someone comes out, it shouldn't just be your first response to be like, okay, let me try and find some holes in this. Well, it looks like she said she posted a text message on 2014. Let's see here. And this text message here. Like, don't be that person. Just don't. Okay? It's poor phrasing on Charlie's part. A little bit of poor phrasing, yeah. Some motherfuckers really think Gone Girl is a true story, SMH. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Reality is, people can lie. That includes accusers that are coming forward against somebody. They could be telling some things that aren't entirely truthful, or maybe are a little misremembered or misleading. There have been cases of people just outright making shit up in order to hurt someone that they had a falling out with. There's been an unreal amount of cases like that. And it's something that I've learned
What's interesting is, like, I think out of all of the Twitlongers I've seen about people coming out against abuse that they suffered from one content creator or another, I think I've seen probably over 30 at this point on my 2 years on the internet covering this as a job. And that's only the ones that I've seen. And out of all of those, since the entire time of being on the internet, I've only seen one fake allegation. Only one, ever. And that was what was her name? I think she was accusing Asian Andy. I think that was it. Was that his name? I really hope that was his name. There was someone that came out against him, and he like posted screenshots and everything. He had other people who were able to verify his side of the story, and it looked like the person who accused him was just, they were just. They put a lot of things in their document that never happened. But again, that's one incident. If you guys want to read about it, this has both. I'm not going down this rabbit hole. But this has both people's opinions or statements. It has the original Twitlonger made by Goblin Cub, and it has the response from Asian Andy, basically explaining like XYZ. Getting to the point of disproving, I don't know, it's a tool for manipulation. There's no power of communication. Okay. Oh, dude, yeah. We'll see. Dreamcat, we'll cover this next, maybe.
A very quick, great example is Mick Gordon versus Bethesda. with the Doom OST, Doom Eternal OST, there was a huge hoopla, a big fucking gross meatball of controversy in terms of Mick Gordon versus Bethesda. One of the higher ups made a Reddit post accusing Mick Gordon of being lazy. It's all his fault.
Oh yeah, and exactly. You're fighting against something much deeper as well. It's a lack of empathy combined with selfishness plus sexism. I think more importantly, it's that like a lot of people just can't see the other perspective. I think for a lot of men online, especially male content creators, when they see twitlongers, they see them from the lens of their male perspective. That, oh, what is more likely to happen to me? Is it more likely that I am going to, sorry. Let me start over. If you pull basically any content creator, they will tell you their biggest fear is being canceled. Every single content creator that you can pull online will tell you their biggest fear is getting canceled. Because then they lose all of their credibility, all of their connections, all of their audience, everything like that. And so for a lot of men who read it, they read the twitlonger and they think, what if this was a fake allegation against me? Would people side with fake allegations against me? I think that's where the mentality comes from, that it becomes a little bit harder for men to empathize with women in that regard. And I get that, like that would suck, but the percentage of false rape accusations is so small. It's so small, and most people have no reason to do it. You don't get clout from speaking out against your abuser. You don't. You can literally go through LSF, find every single post that has allegation in the title, check every single one of the women that spoke out against the abuse that they suffered, and you will go and check their Twitch page and see that they did not grow. They did not become a bigger streamer or a bigger YouTuber or get more clout. In fact, if you speak to any of the women personally, they will tell you the only thing that came out from it was getting more harassment. Every single person that I've spoken to that has had to deal with something like this, the only thing that happens is that they get more harassment and all of their comments become just like, if they have a YouTube, their comment section is fucked. If they have a Twitch, their chat is fucked. Okay, let's go out to the video, okay?
OST's kind of shitty. Mick Gordon's just awful to work with. And I believed it. I took him at face value, even though he never even really provided real evidence to support his claims. It's just one of those things of, well, why would he come forward and lie about it? You know, I trusted him. He was in a position of power, too, where it'd be really weird to risk his entire reputation and the reputation of his company to just outright lie about one of the most beloved artists in the video game soundtrack space. So it just didn't make sense to me, so I took it at face value. Like, damn, Mick Gordon must just be a lazy asshole. And you already know how that fairy tale ends. 2 years later, Mick Gordon drops one of the fattest fuck yous of all time with an unreal amount of evidence.
I don't know who this person is. I'm completely under a rock. I have no idea who Mick Gordon is.
And receipts to debunk everything that was claimed by Bethesda and highlight just how awful all of it was and who was really responsible for the shittiness of the OST. Still one of the finest pieces of reverse like Uno card ever. And it came 2 years later after I and many others had already fully made their judgment on Mick Gordon's character based off of one accuser. And unfortunately, history repeated itself here, and everyone accepted all of these allegations as fact based on one accuser's account of all of it. And these are life-ruining accusations, fucking rape and a ton of other horrible things. Like, those aren't goofy little silly accusations. That's not something you toss out willy-nilly like a fucking baseball. That can ruin your life. That will sink you. And people just ran with it. Didn't ask questions. Didn't
interesting analogy. Very interesting analogy.
Care to hear Kwite's side of anything. Everything Kwite did, they criticized. Like, I think he took down his Discord server, and they took that as a deeper admission of guilt. Everything that happened only confirmed the accusations must be real. Everything that didn't happen, the longer Kwite waited, the more and more people were convinced that everything was truthful there because he's taking so long to respond. The guilt must be weighing him down.
Yeah, it's
He's a
this
rapist.
psychoanalyzing shit that I hate. If you take too long to make a video, people who don't like you will say, "Oh, well, you were trying to come up with excuses, and you needed a time to get a PR team to put together a story to disprove the victim." You know, and then if you upload it too soon, it's like, "Why were you already ready with this?" That's very guilty of you to already be ready. You know.
And they kept pushing that everywhere. Twitter, all over the place. And now he's responded, and the shoe's on the other foot. A lot of the people that were calling him a rapist have at least publicly eaten shit on it and apologized to him, which is nice. Not all of them. There's some holdouts there that just still outright refuse to even listen to him, which is always the worst fucking mentality ever, where, oh, I heard one side, I don't want to hear the other. Doesn't matter.
The only time you don't hear the other side is if the person you're talking to is a literal Nazi. Because Nazis will never tell you anything useful or valid or important or based in science or logic. Everything else, you should always be willing to listen. I draw the line at Nazis. I'm sorry. If you unironically call yourself like a Groyper or like a Nazi or a neo-Nazi or whatever, or you say some shit about like wanting to defend the white race, I'm zoning out. I'm zoning the fuck out. I don't give a fuck. Like, you're not going to tell me anything useful. Every other instance, you should always be willing to listen.
No matter what you say, I will always think this way of you. Those fucking losers grind my ass so hard because it's clear you don't care about the truth. You just want somebody to hate. And this has given you a perfect excuse to hate someone. You have a new villain to attack because you didn't even want to hear the side that would offer more of an insight and help you get closer to the truth of the situation. It didn't fucking matter to you. You just want to stay mad forever and continue to live this miserable life of finding people to hate online and having this list of people that you feel justified.
Oh man, I thought this video was going to have some other things in it, but it doesn't have anything in it. No, do I have to fucking watch this whole video? I don't want to spend stream doing this. Fuck.
To attack and say horrible things to and about. It's fucking tragic. I hate that shit. But luckily that's not everyone. That's only a small group of people that are for some reason still adopting that mindset. But anyway, just kind of wanted to talk about all of this because it's a pretty awful situation that I thought was worth going over at least a little bit. That's about it. See ya.
Okay, really quickly, I wanted to respond to something. Chatter, you are not in trouble. I'm just responding. I know sometimes people get a little scared when I put their chat messages on screen, but I just wanted to respond, not like flaming or anything. So how exactly does Kwite prove innocent when he posted an hour-long video doxing his own face and people still don't even give him leniency? Okay, first of all, I'm pretty sure doxing is non-consensual in nature. If you are choosing to show your face, that isn't you doxing your face. I'm pretty sure that that's not how that word is used. But more importantly, I don't care that he posted an hour-long video. I don't care that he showed his face. I don't care about those things. I don't want to be biased, and those are things that would impact my judgment. I care about what he posted. If all the screenshots are real and all the story makes sense and he has other people with something to lose that back up his story, that's what I care about. But I also think that you're conflating different people. This is something that happens a lot in chat. And I implore all of you to double check yourself. And mostly because I do this a lot. And I used to do it way more. And I've started to like reel it back in now that I've noticed myself doing it. So I want to use this as an opportunity to tell all of you about this terrible thing. Okay? It is very easy to conflate one person with an entire group of people. Okay? I see this happens in chat a lot. People will come in chat and they will start talking to me and then they'll start debating chat and then they will conflate chat with my opinions. And my opinions are not that of the other 2,000 people in chat. We are different, all different people. I can't control other people giving him leniency. I can't. I can only tell you, or not giving him leniency. I can only tell you what my opinion is. That's it. I'm sorry if that's disappointing, but this stream is just my opinion. I don't speak for the hive mind that is Twitter. I don't know what'll make them change their mind. Genuinely, I don't know.